Hello, hello, hello. It's Sunday. What the heck am I doing here on a Sunday, you might be asking yourself? Well, I was asking myself the same question today, but I thought I would go live. Why not? I've been looking at social platforms for a while now and trying to decide where I put my attention, where I put my focus, and more importantly, where do I communicate with like-minded creators and people that I want to chill out and have a chat with. So that's what I'm doing tonight. It's laid back, unscripted, nothing going crazy. We're just going to have a chat and hang out. And hello, Gretchen. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I'd be interested to know your thoughts on this topic. I'm going to actually also have a chat with ChatGPT to see if it can help me out. But I've got some thoughts around what I actually want to do in the future, specifically for 2025 when it comes to social platforms and so on. So I thought we'd have a dig in and take a look. Hello, Saeed, as well. Thank you so much for joining. Happy Sunday. Hope the weather is treating you well in Germany. I know Europe's got quite a few storms going on at the moment, ourselves included. So if my stream disappears in a heartbeat, you know why. The power will have gone off. Hopefully everybody's staying safe, happy, and so on. So what social platforms should we all be really focusing on in 2025? And I guess the first question I've been asking myself is, well, where are the people that I want to follow? Where are those people posting? And what are they posting? Obviously, I always put my stuff here on YouTube, and that's where I'm going to stay. I'm not disappearing. YouTube is my sort of primary focus as a content creator, somebody that supports and helps people and creates tutorials and stuff. So that's not going to change, but it's about the supplementary platforms in terms of where like-minded content creators are, which platform are they actually on, what are they posting, and how can we particularly sort of interact and engage with them. And I think, for me anyway, social platforms specifically, especially if you're trying to get customers, trying to build your business, then these platforms serve a couple of purposes. One, you want to build a community, become an authority, build trust, and support people. And that could be through projects that you're working on, offerings that you're doing with regards to consultancy work, service offerings, and things like that. And then there's the platforms where you want to just chill out, hang, and have a chat with your content creator friends and communities. And that could also be both. Obviously, many customers that I've worked with have also become friends and working with them on different projects and things and learning from each other. So I'll be interested to know from this community, where are people putting their attention and so on. So I thought I'd sort of go through a little bit of a graphic and take a look and have a see about sort of the sort of pros and cons of each of the platforms. Now, I have an account on X, Threads, Instagram, and I've also been playing with Blue Sky. I've been a LinkedIn member since the beginning of time, I think, specifically from a professional business perspective, and we'll get onto LinkedIn in a minute. But in terms of the rest of the content creators, where I would particularly get my news, where I would be able to post things and just interact and engage, I've been looking at sort of all these different sort of platforms, and I've been looking at sort of the pros and cons of each. So I'm just going to go through a couple of those and sort of give you my thoughts on what I think about these specifically. and where I think maybe some are better than others for the type of things that I do. Now, it's not all things to all people. Obviously, there's different platforms for different people, and maybe some of you have already got a large following on one of these and really don't want to dabble and try into any others. So there's a few comments coming in, so I'll just go back for a second. Saeed says that for me, LinkedIn let me just click on that. LinkedIn for real connections, YouTube for video library, and Instagram for 4 a.m. doom scrolling. That's interesting. You sound a little bit like me, actually, so we'll get onto that in a second. Chris, hey Chris, thanks for joining. MySpace, I know, I've been on MySpace for many years, but unfortunately you can't do anything with it anymore, but God rest MySpace. But thanks for pointing that out. And LinkedIn with its 1 billion users. So interesting. Thanks for your comments there, everybody. So let's take a look at the pros and cons of some of these. I'm not going to go through them in tons of detail. We all have our own opinions around some of these social platforms. Some are better than others. Some have got a little bit crazy recently. Some may get better, but who knows? So I've been on X for a long time, but not really posted much on X or Twitter. I was a original Twitter person and was on Twitter for many, many years. And when they introduced the ability to live stream, I thought that was a really good idea. Obviously, they had Twitter Spaces, and then they had the ability to go live. But obviously, over recent times, I'm finding anyway that it's harder to, one, get through the noise on Twitter. There's a lot of noise on Twitter, both politically and otherwise. And a lot of the time when I'm sort of scrolling through Twitter and trying to find people and engage and interact, it just gets sort of filled up with nonsense and things like that, and 20-year-old life coaches trying to tell me how to run my life. And I find that a little bit annoying more than anything. It seems to be a place where people are always just trying to sell the next big thing without really any, in my opinion, a lot of the time, experience and so on. So I'm being forced to just sort of read and see all this, either a mixture of propaganda or people trying to sell me stuff and things like that. And it doesn't seem to be a community now where there's a lot of content creators that I used to follow on there. I've created lists, I've curated lists, I've done searches and things like that. And whilst that's still okay, I do find that it's a little bit sort of, well, just full of nonsense. It's getting a little bit too much. And, you know, political times aside, you know, I think X is really not the platform for me. And I see more and more people not posting on there who used to post a lot from a community perspective. And now it's trying to work out, well, is that the place for me? And out of all these at the moment, with regards to Blue Sky and comparing that to other platforms, I mean, yes, you can go live on Instagram if you want to. It's a bit of a faff, but you can go live on Instagram. But Threads doesn't have the ability to go live at the moment, and neither does Blue Sky. So from a Twitter perspective, it's like, well, is that the only reason to go live if I want that platform? And the other interesting thing about Twitter is that now you have to pay for all the ability to do that. So if I want to go live on X, I have to pay for that. And I'm not really prepared to do that because you can't even use things like TweetDeck or to create those lists and things and have that in a different format. So for me, I think Twitter is going to be bye-bye, and I'm not going to bother using that anymore. So I think Twitter is off the table. I'd be interested to see if any of you here in the chat use X/Twitter. Do you sort of frequent there? What's your opinion about it? Do you think it's a place now to build community and engage with others? Or has it just got a little bit too sort of full of nonsense and it needs a little bit of a cleanup? I know a lot of people had migrated from X to Blue Sky in the tens of thousands. I don't know whether that's still the case. From what I've seen and what I've read, Blue Sky is now becoming a little bit stagnant as well. And if maybe X is on one side of the political spectrum, it looks like Blue Sky is on the other. So I'm not suggesting that Blue Sky is worse than X, but it could get to that point where you've got this shift of people coming over and it just turns into the same type of nonsense. But we'll get onto that in a second. Now, obviously with Threads, if you were an Instagram person, as I was as well, then you instantly get those followers. You instantly get migrated across to Threads, and Threads has been changing and evolving over the years. And for me, it felt like X back, or Twitter back in 2009, and it had a lot of features that weren't there. It is getting better, but they still don't have any ability to go and do any live streaming on Threads, for example. But there are more people on there who are sort of content creator specific. Primarily because if you're on Instagram, you're typically a creator of some kind anyway. There were the photography, which Instagram was originally, and then now more video centric. And they've recently launched a lot of different tweaks and changes. This is Instagram I'm talking about now, which will be ported over to Threads in the future, I think. So if you have Instagram and the cross-posting is automatic, it probably is a no-brainer that if you're using Instagram a lot, then why not just dabble a little bit with Threads and try and build some sort of community and a following on there. So Threads is a possibility because it obviously links with Instagram, and that's a potential to look at as well. And I am still on Instagram, but I'm not a heavy poster on Instagram at all. I have to really think about what I want to do on Instagram in the future. And I know that a few people here post quite a few things on Instagram, and I've seen in the community that seems to be sort of growing and people are posting more, especially with, as I said, the cross-posting back into Threads. So maybe that is an option. Maybe that is something to play with. And then Blue Sky. Blue Sky formed by one of the original founders of Twitter, Jack Dorsey, and is obviously on the decentralized network and has been sort of gaining momentum over the years. But to what extent, and more importantly, is that community there? So that's an interesting one as well. So in terms of where are the people, there has been a huge migration apparently, but when I've been searching and looking for sort of creators, people have gotten accounts on there, but they've not really posted anything as yet. So what's the relevancy of that? There's a couple of comments come in, so I'm just going to pause, clean up my screen, and take a look at some of the comments. So, hey John, thanks for watching on the replay. When you get a chance, he would never advocate X anymore. Fair enough. Pompey Politics podcast. Ironically, our live streams of local election counts got most of its views on X till they decided to make it a streaming pro feature. Yeah, that's the problem. And I think it was nice to have the ability to be able to go live on X if you wanted to. I think, can you, and I don't know the answer to this question, do you need a pro account to do a X Spaces, or previously known as Twitter Spaces, so the old Clubhouse type of workflow? I'm curious. I don't know whether you have to have a pro account to do Twitter Spaces or X Spaces, but I know you have to have a pro account to go live, which is pain. Saeed says that X is great for figuring out who not to like anymore. A deep dive into people's minds. Yeah, I mean, people are very vocal. They're very sort of, upfront and just say what it's like, say what's on their mind. And yeah, it is a really good way of sort of, let's say, doing your own type of filtering in terms of whether you like those people or not. And don't get me wrong, I think X is great for like breaking news, and it seems to be the place where people post stuff first. Whether that stuff is real and relevant is another matter, but it seems to be very dynamic and very, very quick to post breaking news and things like that. Whether you like that or not is up to you. Anyway, Pompey Politics podcast, difficult to say at this time of night. It turned X from a valuable platform to useless, and now it's whispering into a screaming void. I agree with you. I think it's sort of slowly on its way. I wouldn't say it's on its way out, but something has to change. And obviously a platform is only as good as the people that are on it. And if you don't put any effort into it and people just seem to use it as a platform for selling and voicing their opinion and just being too this wing or that wing or being too political, then it's not a place for people who just want to have a conversation. And remember, it used to be social networking. That was the term when all these platforms were launched, and it was an idea to get people to get together, to communicate with people, to build communities, to network. And now it's a social media platform. So you're getting more politicized. There's more of that type of content on there. Excuse me. So now I'm seeing that it's getting a little bit too much. But anyway, so Gretchen says, YouTube, oops, let me click this, is my main platform. I enjoy LinkedIn, have Blue Sky, deleted X, have issues with Facebook, IG, lots of followers, but little true engagement. And I have ethical objections with Zuck and Substack. Yes, I'm going to come on to Substack in a minute as well. Wow, lots of comments. Thanks, everybody, for commenting tonight. So Pompey Politics podcast, we stream to YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. I found LinkedIn a good place for reaching out to potential guests, but audience engagements tends to be on YouTube and Facebook. Yes, I agree. YouTube definitely is a platform where I see people. I mean, I'm currently streaming, I hope, restream to both LinkedIn and YouTube tonight. And whilst I have a number of followers and connections from a professional perspective, previously being in IT on LinkedIn, the engagement is slowly getting better on there, but most of my engagement and comments do come from YouTube. Chris says, going live on any of these platforms isn't really useful unless you have to build a community. Yes, you've also found Twitter live clunky in that respect. Yes, indeed. And if you don't have a community on these platforms, you're absolutely right. There's no point in even wanting to stream to them. But it depends on where you want to build your audience as well, and where the people that you want to attract, the people that you want to engage with are on as well. And maybe some of these platforms should be treated as a casual way of getting news, casually engaging with people. But if you want to be serious about building a community, then obviously there are other platforms to do that, newsletters, Substack, and other places, which I'll go on to in a second. And I'm losing my voice. Saeed said, I only have an X account to claim my handle, never opened or post there. Okay, interesting. And Spaces is not a pro feature. Right, okay, thanks for that, Chris. Sorry for the plosive laden name, no problem. We tried using X Spaces after your helpful video now to solve the Rodecaster Duo, but it didn't get any interaction at all. Yeah, that's the thing as well. I see a lot of people just pushing the community and subscription services and all that kind of stuff on X. But if you don't have that community and that following, then it's really hard to sort of get through the noise as well. So Saeed says, when I see a stream announced on LinkedIn, I immediately check if it's on YouTube too. And that's interesting. So what I try to do is I try to create an event on LinkedIn. And if people just want to casually watch something on LinkedIn on their phone or whatever, then it's going to be broadcast there live. And also then obviously post to YouTube. I have in the past just put a link from my YouTube stream as a post into LinkedIn. But I find that it's better, I think, if LinkedIn Live is actioned when you go live, and then people can actually see it within LinkedIn without making them click another link and then go to YouTube. So again, it's making or helping your audience, just make it very easy for them if you are going live to just really just push it out there and so on. Hey John, thanks for joining in sunny Australia. I'm not sure. I think it is sunny, right, for you. Blue Sky has been quite fun lately. Well, let me know what you mean about that, because I am interested. I have been looking at Blue Sky, as I mentioned, but I'm not 100% sure whether it's something I want to invest any more time in. And thanks for joining us here on LinkedIn. So real quick, back to this then. So Instagram, again, it's a place where I do post from time to time. I've got some followers on there, not a huge amount. I do get some engagement from Instagram. People do DM me, and I think what happens is, because I'm a member of the Ecamm forum as well, they find me either via Instagram or they'll ping me on Facebook Messenger and so on. But so Instagram, I think, is a contender still. Blue Sky, though, I have given it my my best in terms of just trying to find people and engage in things, but I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to continue with it. Because at the end of the day, I don't have a huge amount of time to be posting everywhere just randomly, because that's not the point of this. I want to sort of build a community, build a following, help people, talk to people and engage. And that's really what I've been looking to do. So from my perspective, I think Blue Sky is out, and I've also mentioned that sort of X is out. So I think going forward, my social platforms of choice, if I can just go to the right scene here, I did have ChatGPT there, but ChatGPT's not working for me at the moment, so I'll just go back for a second. I'll change that in a minute. Let's go here. So what I'm going to be focusing on in 2025, I think, is obviously YouTube is my platform of choice. And then in terms of engagement from a professional perspective, I'd like to go to LinkedIn. And when I mean by professional, I mean sort of corporate businesses where my sort of original following and connections were. I think LinkedIn, there's big things going on in LinkedIn this year. I've seen people's videos and people talking about various things happening in LinkedIn. Vertical video is obviously big, and I'll be doing a vertical show starting on Tuesday with Martin McKenna, and we're going to be going live to YouTube and LinkedIn. We'll do a shameless plug later. So I think LinkedIn definitely, and I am seeing engagement on there. I know Saeed is a big player in LinkedIn, and I like just the engagement on there. I like to be able to post and so on, and I think it's a good community of professionals. And I think with LinkedIn trying to push more on video and things like that, I think it's important to keep going on there. So I have been putting more effort into LinkedIn recently. And then from the social side of things, I think I'll just stick to IG and Threads. I think they are sort of hand in hand. If you post an IG, as I said, you cross-post the Threads. Apologies for the crappy writing. But I think those sort of 3-4 platforms are where the time's going to be. All my videos are posted on YouTube. I'll upload them to LinkedIn. I'll post some stuff, social stuff on IG, which I'll then post to Threads. And I am seeing some of my content creator friends post more on Threads as well. So yeah, I think it's an interesting way to do that, and I think those are the sort of platforms I'll be looking at. Hello, Billy. Thank you so much for joining. Hope this is somewhat useful. I'm not sure what platforms you are on specifically. I know that you're on IG. I've seen you on there, and obviously in your sort of space, the shopping channels and so on that you post to as well. So that's cool. Yeah, I think, John, to your point, I think I'm fascinated as well, because I think LinkedIn are really pushing vertical video. They're pushing video in general. They've put a tab on people's phones and the app where it's just a vertical centric app now that you can go on. So you click on LinkedIn, and then in the bottom menu bar, there's a specific button for video only. And I think vertical video in that format, specifically for LinkedIn, is obviously similar to Shorts, TikTok, and all the other platforms. So vertical video, unfortunately, whichever way you look at it, is here to stay. And I think there is potential for businesses to promote themselves better through vertical video. So we're just going to do an experiment. We are going to do a weekly live vertical only show. We're going to be posting to YouTube, which will fit on the Shorts feed. Who knows what that's going to bring, because that's the Wild West. And then we're going to be looking at LinkedIn as well for some form of engagement. And we'll just see how it goes. At the end of the day, you got to try these things to see what sort of falls out. And as we're both on LinkedIn anyway, and we're still posting our normal 16:9 widescreen formatted stuff to LinkedIn, then I'm just be interested to see what happens, what people's reception is, and more importantly, do you think it's a good idea? So we shall see. Gretchen said, those words are key. Invest my time. Which ones add some kind of positivity to your life? For me, that's YouTube and Instagram stories. I can pick up and choose best there. Yeah, I agree. I think, again, it's about where you put your time. Saeed says, the strange thing is you often see the same person posting the exact same thing on all 5 platforms. Copy, paste, repeat. I'm guilty of that as well because everybody is on a different platform. And if you're trying to grow an audience, if you're trying to grow your brand, and if you're trying to sort of just grow in general, until you know where your audience is, I think you have to do a little bit of sort of scattergun cross-posting. And I've tried that for a while. And like many people here, you probably find that you'll get quite a bit of engagement on a platform you've been on a while, where you have, a few followers. And what you're trying to do is sort of capture the imagination, the attention of other people. But in a large social media platform like X, or ones that have, millions of followers, millions of users, then the problem is you're just noise, and you've got to either constantly repeat the same post and do it at different times of the day, which is another strategy, because as you know, it's a constant evolving timeline. And if people don't see you as they're scrolling through, then how do you capture new followers? So it is very hard, I think, to grow as a new person on any of these platforms. And if you look into some of the people who have been successful, it's a slog, right? And they post consistently 2, 3, 4 times a day on some of these platforms in order to get in front of people. So it's a very interesting thought process of whether one should cross-post to multiple platforms multiple times a day just to see where you get the attention of anybody. And then if there are people that are gravitating to your content, then maybe that's the platform that you should be focusing on. But like many people, I don't have a huge amount of time. I'm trying to build a little bit of a business. I'm also trying to do tutorial videos. I try to do live streams 2 to 3 times a week. So it's not always easy for me to sort of invest my time in that as well. So that's why I'm trying to sort of focus on things that interest me as well, because social media posting should not be a chore. It shouldn't be a job. It should be enjoyable, and you should get something out of it. And if that is building a community and engaging with others, meeting wonderful people like yourselves in the chat, that means more to me with this engagement than sort of getting followers. Follower count doesn't matter. To me, it's about the engagement, the community, and building this family of like-minded individuals. So many people commenting, and this is wonderful. Where do I start? Let's go back. Okay, so Billy says, LinkedIn always showing up fashionably late by 3 to 4 years. Yeah, LinkedIn, that's the thing, right? So, and I was talking to the guys at Streamer Live who have this wonderful platform for audience engagement that some of you have seen myself, Martin, Saeed, and others use. And it's interesting, where LinkedIn owned by Microsoft, but they don't seem to talk to other people within Microsoft. So integration with their own platforms seems to be behind as well. So you wonder what the mindset is for LinkedIn. And having seen what people are posting and sort of LinkedIn's messaging, yes, they are a little bit behind and trying to catch up. But I think from a professional perspective, there's a lot of professionals out there in businesses that are still using Zoom and Teams, and that's all they're allowed to use in terms of restrictions within their organizations. So asking them to hop onto Ecamm, OBS, Restream, StreamYard is going to be pretty difficult. So I think they've got to just support the people that are on there and what platforms they use. So I know they've got plugins now for live streaming from Zoom and Teams, but it's not always easy to go live directly to LinkedIn from Zoom. You still have to use RTMP keys. There's no app. I think there's an app or some form of integration, or there used to be, with MS Teams, but even that's not 100% fluid from what I've seen as well. So it is interesting indeed. Hello, thank you for joining again, Florence. So nice for you to be here. And yeah, so 2025 is to grow my email list. Nice segue, Billy. It's like you're reading my mind here. I'll come on to that in a second. And as John mentioned, if something's worth sharing, why not share it everywhere? Edge your bets, platforms come, platforms go. Yeah, that was my point, John. To try and capture your audience. If you can do it with a scheduling piece of software like Buffer or Later, then why not just post the stuff? And if that same person is on all of those platforms, then they'll just gravitate to whatever sort of content you post out there, and they're just going to find you, right? But I mean, I'm on these number of platforms, and I see that as well. I do see people post to multiple things, the same content to multiple platforms. But again, every platform's audience engage differently, whether it's video centric, text based, or whatever it might be. And they might want to see you 7-8 times a day before they even recognize who you are and even engage. So there you go. Yes, I agree, John. I hope more platforms add native scheduling options. I do find that a bit annoying that there are platforms out there that you can't even schedule. There's still restrictions on the numbers of characters and things. So when I've been trying to cross-post in my experimentation to like Blue Sky and Threads and X, they all have different requirements. So sometimes you can't put links in there. Sometimes you go over a certain character count. It's very annoying. Said was saying, just saying, if I already saw and engaged with your post on LinkedIn, I probably just scroll past it on Instagram. Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, if you're seeing me on LinkedIn, you've engaged, you don't have to like it in Threads. You don't have to go over to, I wouldn't expect anybody to do that. And I'm thinking that just this cross-post into multiple platforms is just really a way of seeing who you can get the attention of and whether you can build an audience on that specific platform. We can show we're engaged by clicking that like button today. Florence, thank you so much. So just, whatever the young kids say today, smash that like button. I don't know why people say smash it, because if you smash the like button, then it could potentially break and you wouldn't be able to smash it anymore. Thank you so much, Florence. Can indeed show the engagement by pressing that like button today. So you're here. Oh, thank you, John. You've just switched from LinkedIn to YouTube. You could have kept the LinkedIn motion going, though. I think we need more people engaging inside of LinkedIn. And then the platform will realize, well, obviously live streaming is a thing. We're going to keep it going and not remove it like they did with, I think they removed the audio component, right, a few months ago or 6 months ago, where people could actually go live and do like a radio podcast type show similar to Clubhouse, and they got rid of that. So let's hope LinkedIn doesn't get rid of live streaming and then just make it back to text-based again. So on the LinkedIn, Neil is probably still 2 minutes behind on live streaming. That's really funny. Interesting how that pans out then, because I thought LinkedIn Live was more dynamic and quicker than YouTube. I know YouTube typically is around 15 to 20 seconds behind, but maybe LinkedIn is a few minutes. I'll have to do some experiments and some testing there. So it's been mentioned earlier on, but Substack is something that I have been looking at and I'm using. Now, Substack, for those of you who don't know, is a platform really aimed at writers, bloggers, if you like, but they've introduced a ton of things over the years, and it's free to use. They only charge you if you have a subscription model whereby you're getting people to pay you for your content. They will take a cut of the revenue that you generate from that. So that's something that to be mindful of if you're going to start having subscriptions or asking people to subscribe to your Substack newsletter or different things. There's a lot of people, a lot of creators started playing with Substack and then subsequently stopped. But Substack have released a few things recently that I've been looking at. The one for me was I do have a little podcast and I have a small newsletter group, so an email list. And my email list originally was on Beehive, which is a newsletter tool. You can use something similar to ConvertKit. There's others out there as well. But I was playing with Beehive for a while. And then I came across Substack. And I like the look and feel of Substack. And I remember talking to Gretchen at Ecamm and asking her and a few other people, what do they use for their general posting, their letters, the blog posts, if you like, or whatever. And Substack seemed to be mentioned more and more and more. And recently, Substack had put out the ability to live stream to a small amount of users on their community. So they were doing a test, and now they've released it to everybody. Admittedly, it's still just on the iPhone app at the moment, but now with Substack, you can actually go live from your phone to your community that you're building. And Substack is really aimed at building a community. So you can bring in your email lists into Substack and really be creative on how you want to do regular posting as a newsletter to your followers. And you can also engage in community chats within Substack, either to your followers or to others. So I've been playing around a little bit with Substack to see what that's like. I brought in my podcast that I've been playing with and my email addresses and my newsletters. So I've ported everything over from Beehive into Substack. So I'm playing with Substack. So I don't really class that as a social network, but it is a way of building a community. Not in like the things such as Threads and X in terms of what I mean, but they have got now like a Threads type feature where you can chat with other people, engage with your community, and try and find people. Again, the content creation space for videographers, I don't think there's a ton of people on there on Substack. At least I've not been able to find a ton. A lot of it is obviously creative writers, and that's what it's aimed at. But there is still a place, I think, for maybe people like myself to create newsletters and just engage with people and provide helpful tips and tricks. Now, again, you can take that newsletter that you created on Substack and then post it to LinkedIn as a post. And I think LinkedIn posts get a lot of engagement, and I've seen some great creative stuff from people here in the chat who regularly post to LinkedIn. And I do like the way that works and how you can get engagement on LinkedIn as well. So Substack is definitely a platform that I'm going to be focusing on, and hopefully that's really where I'm going to be looking at for 2025. So to recap, it's going to be YouTube, it's going to be LinkedIn, LinkedIn, Threads, and IG of course, and then finally Substack. And for me, that's enough to be playing with, because this Substack newsletter, I'm trying to do it weekly, but it's probably going to be now twice a month. And then the rest of the stuff will just be cross-posted based on the videos that I create, social interaction, and so on. So I'm curious, out of everybody that's on the chat, and I do appreciate you joining me on a Sunday, a couple of questions for you. First one is, so where are you guys focusing your attention in 2025? I know some people have already answered YouTube, LinkedIn, and I see Substack in the chat as well. So I'll wait for that to come through. So where are you focusing your attention in 2025? And I'll go through some of these great comments. Yes, it's not a bad experience actually, John. LinkedIn Live is pretty good, I think, overall, and it's a good platform. Why not? Gretchen says that she really enjoys so many of Substack's features. You had a podcast, the photography newsletter, and I'm planning on expanding my use of it there in the future. Yeah, I was just actually watching before I joined the live stream here. Stream Like a Boss, Tanya, she was going live on Substack. So I joined the live on the phone and it was cool. You know, nice interaction. She was talking about all the things that she's doing and using Substack to build the community and to create some of the courses that she's doing. She's going to be posting on there and engaging. So I think it's good, and I think we should give something like Substack a chance. Keep in mind that all these platforms are free, and as we've seen with TikTok and others, you could just get the rug pulled from out of you. So I know people say, you know, spread yourself a little bit into different platforms, but also make sure that you maintain and keep hold of your own email list, because your content needs to be owned by you and not provided to others, because they could just sort of disappear. It's interesting that nobody, apart from Gretchen, who mentioned Facebook, has mentioned Facebook. And I'm not a huge Facebook fan at all. I engage in the Facebook communities for Ecamm because I like helping out there and answering questions. And I follow a couple of Facebook groups for roadcasters and a few other technical stuff. But going live, having a page, creating a group, no. And that's just not for me. I just don't like Facebook. I find it very difficult to navigate, especially when you've had a post posted and then you try and find it. You have to save posts. It's not very good, but I know there's a lot of sort of an older generation, shall I say, which is crazy. You know, I'm including myself in that are on Facebook, because that seems to be the platform that they gravitate to, and it seems to be easy for them. There's hundreds of thousands of Facebook pages and groups. There's millions of, I think, was it 1 billion something users on Facebook? It's just ridiculous. So there's a lot of people on Facebook, but it's not something I'm interested in. And it's not something I'm going to be engaging in at all. So it's interesting to see whether you guys frequent Facebook. Maybe it's just a friends and family keeping in touch with, but I don't even do that. So it's interesting. Let's see. Saeed says, so LinkedIn, YouTube, and grow my mailing list on Kit. Cool. The rest is just peer pressure. Yeah. Well, the thing is, you've got to be on platforms that you are comfortable with being on, ones that you find your followers, and ones that you enjoy posting to. If it's like, oh God, I got to do this social posting now, then it's a pain. So what I try and do on Sundays is I try and work out what platforms I'd like to post on, and then I'll try and schedule some stuff out for the week. Like, for example, I'm going live in 15 minutes, or I'll post about the shows that I'm going to be doing and things like that, and then try and engage with people going along. So it is difficult though, because then I forget. In the week, I forget. You get bogged down with either video editing or prepping for a stream or working for a client, and then I don't then socially interact, and then the day is gone, and then I forget to post. So I think you have to be intentional as well, either making sure that you look at your social networks 2 to 3 times, 4 times a day. I don't know whether that's the right number or not, but maybe we need to engage more if that's the case. So interesting. Let's have a see more comments. So John says, I go live on Twitch and Facebook too, just because of the option to, but I don't think anybody watches me there. Yeah, when I've watched you, John, and sort of signed up, it's mainly been on LinkedIn, and then I'll probably pop over to YouTube, just like you've done. So LinkedIn or YouTube for me. Yeah, another mention. Good shout there, Gretchen. So Discord. Again, I can pick and choose and have more control over what I see. Yeah, and as you've probably seen and heard, that it depends on... People have got different opinions about Discord. For me, I don't mind Discord, but I just don't use it very often. I know there's people in the creator community that have the Discord communities and channels, and I've heard, some people find it difficult to navigate, so they're not going to entertain using Discord. And for me, it's okay. I don't mind Discord. I think it's okay, but it's not something I want to invest the time in. And as well, even if you build that Discord community, you've then got to drive people over to that. And it's about familiarity. And if your audience isn't used to using Discord, and if it's in any way, shape or form slightly difficult to use, then they're not going to use it. So you've got to make the platform easy for people to sort of just get connected with and use, or people are simply not going to use the platform. Pompey Politics Podcast says, focus on YouTube, LinkedIn, and building a newsletter, but we'll start to post IG Threads, Blue Sky, and Facebook. Useful place for us to build our local community and political groups. Yeah, again, if your audience is on those platforms and they're serving you and you can reach them, then why not? I mean, if it's very easy to just cross-post, as I've mentioned, to use these tools and keep posting the same things, it's fine. I think the main thing for me, though, is that I pride myself in trying to respond to every YouTube comment, positive and negative, that's on the YouTube channel. I don't have a huge YouTube channel by any stretch. So sort of keeping up with comments and being able to respond to them isn't too difficult. I guess as you grow and have a massive channel, then as you get in more and more comments, it just becomes impossible to respond. So I think it's nice to build that community there. But what I find interesting is, and I don't know if you guys have looked, and gals have looked at your YouTube stats as well in your channels, that very small percentages of YouTube subscribers actually watch my videos. A lot of the time it's either YouTube pushing the videos, it's new engagement with new viewers, but a lot of the time it's not my subscribers. But I'm getting more subscribers. So it's interesting. I'd be interested to know what you feel about that and whether that's the case for you. I think the number was something like 75% of people subscribed to my channel don't watch my channel. What does that tell you? thoughts on a postcard to Neil at you know where. Saeed said, I deleted my Facebook account about 5 years ago. I really don't need to know my first... I'm going to post this up. I deleted my Facebook account about 5 years ago. I really don't need to know my first grade classmate's guacamole recipe. Depends how good it is. You might like it. Don't knock it till you've tried it. I know what you mean, though. I know what you mean. John says, my only complaint about Blue Sky is that it will routinely, a 23 megabit file is larger than 50. Oh, really? So it's so you try and post a 23 megabyte file and it tells you, no, it's 50 meg. Interesting. John also says that he's pretty guilty of selecting mark as read on many Discord servers. Yeah, because you get a lot of notifications as well. Gretchen said, I have specific communities on Discord that I connect with. The community members have in general similar focus. For me, it allows me to compartmentalize various interests. Yeah, I mean, if you're a person that has various interests, I know, Gretchen, you have, then it's probably a great way of segmenting that. I've thought about that as well, about if, because I like to play music and things like that, and I was wondering if I ever wanted to sort of post stuff about music, should it be on my existing YouTube channel? Probably not. I mean, I know that you can put separate playlists on there and do things like that, but not sure if that would be the best option. I think it should be a separate channel, but I think with Discord, because you can then split stuff up and have different, it's almost like subreddits, right, where you can have different topics and things like that, it makes it much easier to engage. John says, most of my YouTube traffic is from outside of YouTube. Literally me copying and pasting the link everywhere else. Yeah, and that's possibly the case. Maybe where people are finding you is from these external sources and the various platforms that you're actually posting on. Saeed says, I find it hard to connect with people on platforms where they don't use their real names and there's no way to actually reach them. That's why you prefer LinkedIn for connections and clients. Yeah, that's true. Some people have got some crazy names on these social platforms, and you really want to see the person behind it. What I tend to do is if I can try and work out what their name is, I'll try and look them up on LinkedIn. And invariably, people are on LinkedIn, but I think it's a little bit more authentic on LinkedIn to a certain extent. I know there's still people out there trying to sell you stuff and all kinds of things, and you do get sponsored ads and stuff, but I like it, and that's why I'm going to be focusing on it. So I'll be happy to see you all over on LinkedIn. I did want to ask you one question before I'm coming up to the hour, and it's nearly 10 o'clock here, probably nearly 11 o'clock for Saeed. No idea what time it is for John. I'm not with you, 12 hours difference from me. I'm actually in Portugal, but I'm on the same time zone as the UK. So it's nearly, it's 10 to 10 for me at night. But I wanted to ask you, I've always been contemplating going live on Sunday for a chill out stream like this, just to, don't have anything to show specifically, don't have any tutorials or stuff like that, because I saved that for the Tech Thursday show and the Vertical show and things like that. So I'm just wondering, out of curiosity, is this a good time to go live, and do we like the idea of me just posting a live show on a Sunday at this time, 9 o'clock, just to have a chill out and chat? And people are always welcome to come on the show. I have a Zoom link that you can go on as well, so always happy for people to come and join me and have a face-to-face, or a virtual face-to-face on the stream. So if you think this is not a bad idea, maybe I'll make this a bit of a regular Sunday chill out show, and I'd really do appreciate people turning up. It's just really humbling to have people turn up on the stream. I was all ready to get ChatGPT to talk to tonight because I was expecting 0 people turning up and any interaction at all. So it's really appreciated that you have joined today. John says it's 8:48 on Sunday morning drinking coffee. Fantastic. It's the perfect time then to get everybody from around the world on and engaged in the show. And I'm really more than happy to have people come on as guests via Zoom, have a chat. You can be in pajamas, drinking coffee. I don't mind, whatever you want to do. So let me know if you think this time is a good idea to go live. And if you join me in the future, that would be fantastic, because I do like having a bit of a Sunday sort of chill out. It's getting close to my bedtime. The old age is creeping in, so you have to be in bed by 10. And that was the idea of doing this show tonight. And I had had this show scheduled for a while. I just hadn't had a lot of time to think a bit more about sort of the platforms. But it's been real fun, the engagement I've had tonight with you and to getting your thoughts as well. So I think I've made my decisions I want to do. I will be disappearing from X, disappearing from Blue Sky, focusing on Instagram, Threads, YouTube and LinkedIn, and keeping the Substack going. Gretchen says she enjoyed the time getting ready for my own show and doing some art and avoiding football. Marvellous. Saeed says he likes the chat and chills, just hanging out, geeking out. The best kind of session. Fantastic. Yeah, it's a lot to put in when you're doing tutorials and things, as you well know, and it is just nice to chat with fellow creators, friends, community, and stuff like that. It's a good time. Yeah. Thank you very much, Florence. I do appreciate that. And I think it's nice just to talk about topics in general. I don't always have a lot of things to talk about. A lot of my time is spent focusing on sort of building tutorials and working out stuff and things. So it is nice just to think, okay, let's pick a topic and just have a chat about it. So this could be a regular thing. I'm going to probably schedule it now for next Sunday, the same time, same place, YouTube and LinkedIn. Sorry, X. It's not going to happen anymore. All right. Any other questions, comments, thoughts before I close it up? I will give a shameless plug. Tomorrow, as some of you may know, I'm actually a co-host on the Creative Amplifiers show, which came out of the Ecamm family a few years ago. So it's myself, Lisa and Mark. We have sort of regular guests on there. We might have a problem with our guest tomorrow. She's not feeling very well, so we may do a little show ourselves, but that is at 9:30 UK, 4:30 Eastern over at the Creative Amplifiers channel. So there you go. Sorry, it's Sunday. Oh, it's, yeah. You've confused me because you are in the future, John. So it is Monday morning, 8:30 for you. Okay, I must remember that. So confusing. So you're in the future. You've already had your Sunday. So now it's Monday and you're ready to go. Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining. Saeed said, how many live streams am I on combined in a month? That's a good question. So, hang on a minute. I'm on the Creative Amplifiers show every other Monday as a co-host. Then I've got the Vertical show with Martin now on Tuesday. I go live with Martin, which was the original show that I started myself on Thursday. I'm actually hosting the Ecamm Live demo this Friday, and I've done this show tonight. So that's 5 this week. So probably 3 a week, something like that. 15 a month. It's quite a lot, I guess. But I mean, I enjoy going live, and I also enjoy making videos, and I do get a lot of fun and interaction, and I get I do like live a lot, particularly when there's good people like yourselves joining me and having a chat. So it's cool. Gretchen, don't forget to go back and delete all your personal info. X free delete. Elon already said he has plans to have full access and use it all. Ooh, nefarious activities. Interesting. That's a shame, John. You'd normally be at work. All right. Dash. Maybe I have to make it a bit earlier or later. I don't know. It's confusing. Well, I do appreciate you joining today, John. Maybe you can catch me on the flippity flop or whatever you call it next time on the replay. But it would be nice if you could join at some point. And yeah, always like trying to tune in when I can on your lives as well. So thank you for joining today. All right. Without further ado, I will say goodbye. Shameless plug. So this Tuesday, don't forget, Martin and I will be hosting this show, which is our new weekly show. It's Stream Design Custom Shop Vertical Stream Show. Completely vertical, 100% vertical. We may look ridiculous in it, but Martin's really good at all the design stuff, so it's going to be fun. Anyway, thanks a lot for joining, everybody. Oh, Saeed, one last comment. I heard people saying you don't delete your accounts, otherwise your handle gets available for others to claim. Yeah, so maybe you just make it inactive and remove some of the personal stuff, but always keep your handle on X. Interesting. I guess we'll find out. All right. Thanks for joining, everybody. Lovely to see you. Probably see you next time on Sunday. Don't forget, tomorrow, Creative Amplifiers show and the rest of the shows this week. Have a good week. Take care. Bye.